104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Getting some help with this NBA draft with the NBA Draft Insider from Sports Illustrated, Jeremy Wu, with us. What do you make of the Celtics 76ers trade right there at the top? Who will make out the best in this deal?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the kind of thing where you have to sort of, time will kind of tell with it, given how many of assets are still fluid. Boston may flip some of these picks again, but I do think it's a win, definitely for the Sixers. They obviously had all these picks stockpiled. They decided to make a move. I think, they're going to take Markelle Fultz. I think he'll be a great fit for them alongside Ben Simmons. I think it's the move that their fan base had been waiting for as well. So I think the Sixers are definitely winners. And for Boston, it's just going to take time. If they can add a star this summer, or whatever their corresponding moves are, I think we'll get a better sense of maybe why they did it and, what it might mean for them.
We've already had so many moves with Dwight Howard getting traded, D'Angelo Russell getting traded. Who's likely to be the next star in the NBA to be on the move in the next 48 hours?
Yeah, it sounds like Paul George is probably the most likely big name to get moved. Some of the trade stuff with Jimmy Butler has quieted down a little bit based on, reports that are coming out. I think George, the Pacers, he kind of forced their hand a little bit. They kind of need to move him to get something, but it's tricky because other teams know he wants to go to the Lakers. So I think it's a difficult trade market. But I would expect the Pacers to explore their options and probably settle on something before the draft, and get some draft assets in return if they can cut a deal.
Jeremy Wu from Sports Illustrated with us right now, 104.5 The Team's Levack Goz. So Jeremy, just to give you a little background, we're sitting here a couple days back, and I'm like, all these teams are trying to get better, and the Knicks aren't even in the mix. And now we hear the Knicks are in the mix. So is Kristaps Porzingis moving? What do you think?
Yeah, I doubt it. But it was funny, just the radio silence, and then it is almost like it was too quiet, and the Knicks just something that stuff came out at once. I don't know how seriously people are think they want to trade Porzingis. I think it's more if it's out there, it might be they're just trying to see if they can get anything for it. They'll be able to get a good return for him, but my guess would be that their asking price is going to be pretty high, which is understandable. But because of that, it's kind of, to me, unlikely that they get a deal on him this short of time window, I think.
Is there a deal out there you see that would make sense? And if not that, is that other guy, that Carmelo Anthony guy, maybe going to be on the move?
Yeah, honestly, there's not a lot I would trade Porzingis for. There are not a lot of players sort of in his age bracket who are more proven than him. I think he's really, obviously, the best thing the Knicks have had going for them in a long time, and the fan base really likes him. In theory, it would take at least one or two young, starting caliber players and draft picks. I don't know if the team is going to be able to put that together without, giving up too much. It's hard to do deals like that. And it's rare you see a star, that young who's that good, get dealt sort of, when he's, a highly in-demand asset. Carmelo, it's tough with the no trade clause, but it wouldn't shock me if he moves.
The Knicks have the 8th overall pick in the first round, the most likely prospects to be there, and maybe the one for you that you think's the best fit.
Yeah, I think they'll probably pick a guard. I think they will, look at Malik Monk, Dennis Smith, Frank Ntilikina. Those are probably three guys to keep an eye on in that spot. In our most recent mock draft, I had them taking Malik Monk, just because I think with his scoring ability, he has a lot of room to grow, and he's a really good shooter already. And as he sort of expands his skills, he might be able to be your a lead ball handler as well. So I like the upside pick there. I think Smith is also interesting, and the Knicks are also they're said to be high on Frank Ntilikina. But for me, the pick would be Monk.
Jeremy Wu with us right now from Sports Illustrated, Levack Goz, 104.5 The Team. So the one thing Knicks fans have thought Phil has done right so far is get Kristaps Porzingis. Break out your crystal ball. 3 to 6 months from now, is there any chance we're looking at this draft and going, all right, Phil's 2 for 2?
Yeah, I think there is. I think there are going to be good players available at that spot for sure. The draft, it's pretty solid. Top 10 sort of range of guys. And I think they'll be able to come away with a good player for sure.
Let's get the Jeremy Wu special. Your favorite prospect, the guy who's going to be a star or way underrated right now, could be a real impact player in the NBA in a few years.
Yeah, sure. One guy I really like is Derek White from Colorado. I don't know if he's going to be a star, but I think he's going to make someone really happy either at the end of the first round or early second round. He's a guy who was a sleeper for me during the season. He's an older player. He's 23, so his teams aren't going to be like, oh, he's a huge upside guy, but he's a really good athlete, really all-rounded player, tough kid. And a really interesting story too. He was a Division II All-American, transferred and did 1 year at Colorado and was a standout in the Pac-12. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with them.
How does Jeremy Wu watch the NBA draft? Like, we get together and we have a war room for the NFL draft. What do you do for the NBA draft?
I'll be at the draft. Last year was actually my first year going, but it's fun being there, and it helps me stay ahead of what's happening just being in the room. But it's crazy, man. It's always a lot going on.
Jeremy, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was at Brooklyn last year, Jeremy. Make sure, I think you're from Chicago. Get some real New York pizza when you're there, all right, man? Don't mess around with that deep dish nonsense.
We have to have a different call about pizza, man.
Jeremy, man, we know you're busy. We appreciate you making time for us.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. Thanks, guys.